So the future of Black Ops 6 is of course the launch, but we've also learned quite a bit about things a little further out, like Season 1 and what we can expect across the post-launch year of Black Ops 6 multiplayer and Warzone's integration and beyond. So today I want to run down a little bit of that roadmap, talk about the important new details, and a bit of what's still to come. So drop your thoughts as we go along, drop a like if you enjoy the video, and make sure to subscribe for more Black Ops 6 content as we get ready for launch. We're pushing towards 600,000 subscribers, and honestly, probably it's a mega lofty goal. Let's see if we can try and hit that by launch. I didn't think it was possible last time we tried this pre-Modern Warfare 2, but we did it back then. So if you're new to the channel and you'd like to stay up to date with all things Black Ops 6 and other FPS content, I'd love to have you in the community. For now though, let's get into it. So of course, we know a ton of what's upcoming for launch. The beta showcased a lot of what we can expect, and we've even seen recently things like all the maps at launch coming. We detailed all that a few days ago, but around the point of the multiplayer reveal, we actually learned a bit more about post-launch and even had some reports recently talking about some of that. So let's jump into the multiplayer side of things here. Firstly, it's interesting because right now it's reported that after the reveal of Modern Warfare 3 Season 6, rumors have suggested that Modern Warfare 3's final seasons have had a lower amount of new 6v6 maps because Treyarch reportedly has taken Sledgehammer Games maps for Black Ops 6 post-launch seasons. It's probably why Season 5 and 6 now only have 1 to 2 maps and more variants instead. Now, there's two very, I think, distinct ways to look at this. On the optimistic side of things, I think that this could be simply a way to bolster launch quantity per season, like more maps being added into what was already planned from Treyarch's perspective for post-launch. Like, let's say Sledgehammer averaged about 4 original multiplayer maps per season, which through Season 4 was an accurate statement. We then also saw variants and remasters that bolstered that number outwards of 6 to 7 maps a season sometimes, but let's say Treyarch had 3 original maps planned per season. Right now, devs are likely working on Season 1 to 2 content, so if they can take 1 map from Season 5, 1 map from Season 6 from Sledgehammer that they weren't necessarily using, or that wouldn't make too much a dent in a, say, shortened season that we have with Season 6, that could then bolster out to then be 4 originals per season, 1 on top of the 3 planned for Season 1 and 2. That then would tide developers over until they can start putting full effort into the game post-launch with those seasons, and then bring the number of content up from there. But pessimistically, it also could be something that maybe the planned post-launch support isn't quite where it should be by our standards, especially as of lately, and this is only now getting them up to an acceptable level by Sledgehammer maps being added into the pool. I'm going to hope that's not that one, but we genuinely won't know until Season 1 is fully revealed, and we see what the post-launch support for multiplayer looks like. It's just one of those situations that right now I'd prefer to wait and see rather than make any judgment currently, because it's just getting mad at hypotheticals at that point, which seems to be all too common in today's day and age, but I just don't find it worth worrying about personally just yet. But while not a whole ton has been mentioned in regards to the post-launch content for multiplayer, Warzone's kind of a different story. We've learned actually a decent bit about the future of Warzone since the reveal and a little bit since then. So of course, one of the big things that has been pressed from the very get-go is the introduction of Omni Movement. The Omni Movement system that we have within Black Ops 6, the ability to do all that you could in the beta, that's going to be coming to Warzone. But we'll also end up seeing a couple of different systems foundationally coming over as well, like the introduction of the Prestige progression system, which is why I'm personally confused about the recent report of XP tokens not transferring. Like, unless tokens are just straight up wiped out, those tokens you have right now, which are also visible in Warzone, will still be visible in Warzone after the integration, so pending no weird block, you should still be able to use those, right? It's because the XP does transfer over between multiplayer, zombies, and Warzone. But again, you'll now have a finite leveling system to go with, level 1000 after 10th Prestige, all up front. I mean, in theory, yes, you still kind of had a finite number every single season, 200 levels at a time, but this time around, you can end up grinding out your entire year's worth of XP if you want to in the first couple of months, or not. No caps set artificially during seasons. But we're also going to see a lot of quality of life changes where Black Ops 6 is going to change a lot of what we've come to know with Warzone in the last couple of years. Now, I'm working on getting the full list and details for a video closer to launch, breaking down specific changes coming to Warzone, because what we'll list off here in just a second is quite literally just a small little bit of everything that we saw at the reveal. During our pre-reveal briefing the day before COD Next, Ted Timmons of Raven ended up coming out with a slideshow for his discussion about Warzone that it was quite literally probably like 50 changes deep. I only got to note down what you'll see here with this, but there's a lot more that will break down closer to the launch of Season 1 and everything. But you have weapon rarity returning, that outline here for quick recognition in terms of color, mantling improvements, self-revives can be picked up while downed enemies no longer trigger high alert, which is definitely nice. The bounty threat level has a sound cue to it, so when someone gets closer to you, you'll have that audible notice. There's reduced in-game splashes, there's minimized loot cards when looking at that loot. Med cabinets loot will drop better. The live ping duration has been reduced. Pinging loot will trigger a navigational point. There's modifications to ascenders and zip lines to make them more fluid. Menus and in-match UI will be simplified more, and there'll be changes to infill and exfil sequences. On top of that, you also have other sort of larger things like infinite tac sprint via dedicated melee weapons being out, and your perks. There's faster usage of stims and redeploys. Doors on buildings can be shot open. The wild cards will be introduced into the loadout system. There's the removal of the backpack system. You now have new satchels for armor and ammo expansions, allowing you to take roughly double of what is allotted normally for those maxes. So there's plenty of more things, again, to discuss closer to launch, but as a sort of baseline, Black Ops 3 is introducing a lot of changes just to the foundational gameplay of Warzone. But beyond just the foundational things, we also kind of have a roadmap for, well, the maps in the future. With Season 1 and the integration for Black Ops 6 into Warzone, we're going to end up seeing a brand new map introduced, but it's not going to be a big map like we saw Urzikstan within Modern Warfare 3, Al-Mazrah with Modern Warfare 2, or Caldera with Vanguard. Instead, we're going to end up getting Area 99. Now, this was fully confirmed before COD Next that we'd be getting not a big map, but a new Resurgence map, which to me kind of makes 2024 the year of Resurgence, because we've had minimal support or love to big map really at all. I mean, we got 3 times the amount of maps than updates to Urzikstan in 2024, as wild as that is to consider. But Area 99 will be that launch map for Season 1, similar to Rebirth Island's initial launch in Warzone of Season 1 with Cold War. So interesting how history repeats itself there. But this map explores the origins of all nuke towns, narratively and lore-wise being the manufacturing location of nuke towns throughout the years. So you'll see mannequins, a lot of recognizable points of interest around the map because, well, it's probably going to be reflecting Nuketown in some capacity. You also have places like Pods, which that is the multiplayer map from Black Ops 2 brought into a Warzone map as well. So you'll see that you have a Resurgence map with Season 1, which again kind of just caps off 2024. Beyond that, we also will see some stuff at launch with the integration for Big Map. You're going to end up having Big Map Ranked coming as well, something that we've seen kind of dragged along for the entirety of this year with Modern Warfare 3, and instead we've had Ranked in Resurgence the entire time. It said we're also going to get additional changes, though they didn't preview anything in regards to what those changes will be for maps. But that's your Season 1 stuff. The integration does look to be pretty large here at that point, adding in a new map, changes for an existing map, and of course, all the things that come along with an integration normally. Every single weapon from Black Ops 6, every camo, every operator, everything like that will be thrown in at Season 1. But then a little later on down the line, it was already confirmed that Verdansk would be coming in early 2025. Now this, I would imagine, I mean, it makes sense to do this around the 5-year anniversary mark here at this. That would put us at the end of Season 2, beginning of Season 3, if I'm not mistaken, based off of how timetables would line up in terms of like a 60 to 70 day season, after about probably a month from the launch of Black Ops 6 to when Season 1 will be. So it is possible we see that happen around the 5-year anniversary mark, which is kind of crazy to think it's already been 5 years. But there are rumors that this will not be one-to-one with what we've seen or what we remember about Verdansk, which I'm curious to see how that will work out. Like, does that mean that they're just going to be filling space like how they've kind of accommodated empty space within Warzone Mobile, where they add new points of interest? That could be something that happens, but would it also just be something that it's Verdansk in name, but not actually in map? I'd be curious to see how this all works out. But one thing, talking Verdansk overall, hot take, I don't think this is going to save Warzone. As much as I've loved Warzone since day one, I don't think that we can save it, frankly. The fondness of the memories that people had for the game back then, when there wasn't any sort of strict meta, when you had almost like a sandbox nature to a battle royale where everyone was still figuring out everything, exploring the map, exploring all the weapons, and it was a great breakaway from the real world at the time. I mean, it was peak for reasons that we can't really replicate anymore. It was the excitement of something new mixed with factors that even if we could replicate them, I don't think we would want to. It was a beacon of light in like a dark time for a lot of people probably. So for me, I don't expect this to save the game. I'm excited to play it again on Verdansk and experience the game, but I'm also not expecting this to be like the thing that brings the entire Warzone community together and everybody's like, yeah, this is great. It's probably not going to happen, man. I think it'll be a nice way to finally remember what we had, and it'll be nice to play on it again, especially with those quality of life changes that we've talked about in the last couple of years. Like I've said from day one of when Raven really hit it hard in Caldera Season 2 after they made that pledge to make the game a lot better following the catastrophe that was the Season 1 launch, I'd love to see things in Verdansk like those lootable perks, those redeploy balloons, all the other stuff that was added in since then that makes the game perform better and are cool little things that you're like, oh, that'd be nice to have. I'm really excited to see how that interacts with a classic map. So Verdansk is coming back sometime early 2025, but then beyond that, as surprising as it sounds, we actually have already seen a look at the next Warzone map besides that. So Area 99, Verdansk, and then Avalon. That's rumored for COD 2025 and the integration there, getting us back to a new big map on the integration of whatever that next game will be. And we've actually seen this map not only just from leaks, that was something that was leaked if you saw some footage of that, but also it's actually incorporated with a lot of the multiplayer maps we saw in the beta, off in the distance of Skyline, off in the distance of Stakeout. Hell, the training course map was even a part of this map called Avalon. You could actually see the TAC map on one of the sort of basement cork boards in that training map as well that showcased what Avalon will look like from a sort of just design perspective here of it. It's obviously not something we can get specifics out of, but it is something that you can see that some of these maps in multiplayer are seemingly going to be points of interest as well. So I will be curious to see what happens come Season 1 of COD 2025 and the introduction of this map Avalon that we know a little bit about, but not a whole ton of, because with Verdansk only returning around the 5-year anniversary mark of Warzone, that's a pretty short period of time. So do we see the introduction of a big map rotation, or do we actually only get Verdansk for half a year? That's some big questions that we just won't have the answer for quite some time. So again, not really worth dwelling on it, but that is how Black Ops 6 is changing not only Season 1, but beyond as well, for multiplayer and Warzone. So just wanted to fill you guys in on some information that we haven't quite gotten around to talk about and some stuff that I think is exciting to look forward to. But for now, let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of the changes coming to Warzone and Black Ops 6 multiplayer with the post-launch seasons? Let me know your thoughts down below. But if you guys enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 6 as we gear up for the launch upcoming in just a little over a month now at this point. Love to have you guys in the community as we get ready for that. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name has been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.